So, first of all, good afternoon or good evening, Dr. Young and classmates. So, the topic that I choose to give my critique to today is entitled The Relationship Between Stress, Coping Strategies, and Problem Solving Skills Among College Students, presented by yours truly, Winona D. Bartolata, BSI 2. So, now let's proceed first with the abstract. So the study investigated stress, coping strategies, and problem-solving skills among college students. A total of 202 university students completed this study. The purpose of this study was to address gaps in the existing literature regarding stress, coping strategies, and problem-solving skills in college students. To date, no research in this topic area had been conducted with a sample of college students in this region of the United States. This study helped to advance the field of psychology because new knowledge was contributed about the relationship between college student stress, coping strategies, and problem-solving skills by adding a new sample of university students. It was also important to know what was related to stress and coping in the students right now. By adding a new sample of students to this body of research, more information can be learned about the interaction of these variables and how it can affect college students in an attempt to help students make more mindful and healthy choices on how to cope with stress now and in the future. In general, the results suggested that as stress increased for students, the utilization of several coping skills also increased. So basically, this is telling us that the study is all about investigating stress, coping strategies, and problem solving skills among college students. So, in line with this, it has helped to advance the field of psychology because new information of knowledge our knowledge added the relationship between college student stress, coping strategies, and problem solving skills. Significantly, it was also crucial to know what relates to stress and coping among the college student at the time now. Moreover, by adding a new sample of students in this research, there is much information to be learned and discovered about how these variables interact together and how it affects college students when it comes to becoming more aware in terms of making good and healthy decisions as to how they are going to cope up with stress now and in the future to come. So in this study also, the results suggested that as stress increased for college students is that coping skills also increase. So now let us proceed to the critic portion. So do you agree or disagree with the findings of the article? So I must say, and why? So I must say that yes, I do agree with the findings of the article because I can personally relate to it. So, whenever I am upset or stressed out, the best way I can do is to vent out everything I feel as of the moment vocally, in a verbal way, in an open space, as of which this characteristic of coping is presented in the study. So in this study, the results suggested that as stress increased for college students is that coping skills also increased. So the second critic portion, what are your reactions or thoughts about the article? So for me, this should be addressed and tackled because stress is very common not only among students but also stress can happen within the family, community, and even in the workplace, as some or most of you may agree with me. So there are many reasons why we feel stressed or threatened by a person, event, or situation. It could be the major changes in life, too many paperworks, either at school or at home, or simply just worrying about anything that comes into your mind too much. So these are just few of the things we experience in life that is partly normal and part of life. But the real question is, are we ready next time to face unexpected feelings of stress? For me, it is really important to not only be aware of what too much stress can cause to us, but also at the time of stress, what are the healthy ways to cope or combat stress? Because firstly, after admitting that we are feeling stressed, then we can proceed to the ways on how to cope up with it. So I agree that using this information, counselors, in the perspective of counselors, they can use this information to help educate their clients. And as for educators or instructors or facilitators in the academic world, they can use this information to educate students on how to make healthy choices. Again, in coping up with stress. And lastly, those health psychologists, they can use this information too to prevent for treatment and management of diseases. So in our own little way, we can also manage the type of stress we are feeling by knowing that we are not alone, that there are many people who also personally struggle and overcoming. We are, and that we have to know that we are strong and we are able to use the knowledge that we have to combat stress and be eventually stress free in living life to the fullest. Now, the third critic portion, are you willing to recommend this research as a credible source and why? For me, yes, especially to educators, to the community, to friends and loved ones. Not only a way of bringing awareness, but also helping one cope up with stress in a positive way. This research is a credible one, especially the characteristics that an individual most likely to engage in this includes self-destruction, denial, substance use, disengagement, venting, humor, and self-blame. So this is what we most likely engage to once an individual is feeling stressed. These are the coping characteristics. So while there was an active coping going on, it has a negative connection with stress. But I certainly recommend this because the study was conducted and the results are away far away and not biased, even though the topic is very subjective. So it depends on the individual, the level of stress that they're feeling, because only the individual can tell whether that is a threat to him or her, or simply it can be seen as normal. So that could be. So this will be the end of my critic portion. So these are the reference of the full article. Thank you so much for listening, and God bless us all.